If you're looking for an alternative to Zoom, maybe you've got some issues with resolution. If you're one of the people like me using Ecamm Live virtual camera or a virtual camera into Zoom, or maybe you're using Zoom just for occasional calls and don't want to really justify the expense of it, but you would still like more features than you get just with the free Zoom plan, or perhaps you're just finding Zoom is getting a little bit bloated with too many settings, too confusing, too much overwhelm. Well, whatever the case, Vivomeetings could be the platform for you. And in this video, I'm going to talk through some of its features and some of the things that I think set it apart and what really piqued my interest in it. Now, full disclosure, this and some other upcoming content on my channel are a paid collaboration with Vivomeetings. And what you find is as you start creating content on YouTube, as your channel grows, as my channel has grown, I found that more and more companies have been reaching out, offering me either products for review or asking for collaborations with, paid promotions and things like that. And the majority of these just get rejected outright. Generally, I'm only going to be talking about something that I'm a big fan of, that I've been using for a long time. But Vivomeetings was something that was new to me when they reached out to me. And so I did take a look at it, though, and there was a few things there that really just grabbed my attention because, as I say, I use Ecamm Live virtual camera into Zoom, and anybody who has spent any amount of time in the Ecamm Live community where we want to level up our on-screen presence, our online meetings, using all of the production quality that you can get from Ecamm Live or indeed from OBS or any other of these sort of live production tools, routing these into Zoom to just have another level on your digital stage, as I like to call it. Well, if you have been in that world, you will know that resolution is the bane of our lives sometimes. And certainly with Zoom, the number of hoops that you have to jump through just to get that high quality resolution. And first of all, you need to be on a paid Zoom plan. So that's the right off the bat. If you want to use Ecamm Live virtual camera into Zoom, you need to be on a paid plan because you can't actually get this higher resolution. And just to sort of explain what this issue is, Zoom and all of these meeting platforms are generally just assuming that you're using a regular camera into the meeting. And so when that is going into to Zoom, that's fine if you're just on camera. But what if you're actually using Ecamm, OBS, or applications like this to share some information on your screen or to bring in presentations and so on? Those are going to have necessarily sort of text on them. And so if Zoom is just thinking that you've got a regular webcam, it's not going to be thinking that, oh, hang on a minute, I need to make sure that you've got this high quality resolution. It saves that specifically for the screen sharing. So this is the issue that we're trying to constantly overcome. Now, if you are on a paid Zoom plan, you can request that they upgrade your resolution. You can then go and enable this in the settings. You can then go and enable this in the settings on the web first, and then your Zoom application settings as well. And then there are a whole series of other checks that you need to have. You need to be in full screen mode in Zoom. Your participants need to be in full screen mode. You need to have all of these other different things that you have to jump through. I mean, so much so that one of the most downloaded PDFs on my website is the Zoom settings guide to help people achieve this thing of just having a high quality resolution. So one of the things that really piqued my interest about Vivomeetings was you as the host, you as the meeting organizer, just get to simply choose what resolution you're on. And you don't need to be on the highest plan. There are a range of plans which we'll look at a little bit later. But basically, you are in control of that resolution. Now, obviously, there is still a certain bandwidth requirement, but that is to be expected. If my bandwidth dropped right now, even just streaming to YouTube, then there would be a degradation of resolution. But that aside, the resolution is a huge thing. And it just seemed to me that this, coupled with a load of other things that I'll go through, just felt like it's quite a refreshing platform to take a look at. So that's what we're going to be doing today. But I did just want to get out of the way this full disclosure about this is a paid collaboration. But as always, these views are my own, and there's no onus on me to say anything in particular in this. It's just really just my general sort of views. So what I thought I'd do is I'd fire up a meeting, which I've already done, and then would go through some of the settings and the sort of planning of meetings and things like that, and go through some of the feature sets and also their roadmap for future updates as well, because they've been very open and clear about that. Just a quick chat to everyone in the chat. Hey, Parker, great to see you here. And George, great to see you too as well. Hey, Chris, great to see you here. You're here for the new Zoom. Yes, well, it's a great alternative. And Paul, great to see you too. And finally, Jesse. Great to see you as well. And yeah, Jesse's in the Take One Tech Academy, and we've been talking about this a lot, really, as another alternative to Zoom. So let's first of all just pop over to this little meeting that I've got going. I'll just quickly show you the interface. I'm just going to switch my my video off on this iPad for the time being. So this is the interface. I'll get into this in more detail a little bit later. You know, it's a meeting platform. Well, what do you expect? Paneled views and so on, or tiled participants there on the screen. But this is just to give you a little peek at the sort of look of the interface. But what I want to do first, though, is I want to go through some of the settings, because this is one of the things that I talked about in. It was actually in when I did the event last month, the Digital Stage Revolution, and we were talking about Zoom, and it was all about, you know, leveling up your on-screen presence. And the question or the comment came in from one of the attendees of that event that Zoom just seems to be getting so bloated now. There is so much that they're adding in all the time that sometimes you know, it's a mystery as to where to find anything. Certainly when you look in the web settings, it's just a mass of things, and sometimes it's good to have all of these features and options, but other times you just want a little bit of simplicity, don't you? So let's take a look then at the settings for Vivomeetings. And I'm not going to go through all of them. It's got the usual things, you know, your account picture, your password, two-factor authentication, all of this kind of stuff down on this right-hand side. So all pretty self-explanatory. But the couple of things that I want to just go into is audio and video, first of all. We've got the video. You can choose to whether you want it sort of reversed, basically, or as folks would see it. So display my videos as others would see it. So they're going to see it exactly the correct way around. And I prefer to look at it like that as well, specifically because with Ecamm, you know, I've got text on screen and things like that. So that's how I want it to be displayed to me. Some people prefer to have their image reversed so that it's more like a mirror. But when you get used to sort of live streaming and that, then certainly you want to just be able to see it as it's going to go out. Simple settings, though, you know, audio, microphone and speaker, and there's obviously a test built into that as well. You know how in Zoom we've got all these different things with background noise removal, echo cancellation, and there's multiple different settings. And then we've got that thing, original sound for musicians, which frustratingly you have to go and toggle on every time. So just without going in making this a Zoom thing, but with Zoom, if you want to have if you've got a good audio setup, maybe you've got a Rodecaster, you've got a good microphone or something like that, and you just want to have that high quality audio going into your meeting. In Zoom, there's a bit of a dance that you have to go through to enable all of that, and then it's using this thing called original sound for musicians, but then it's just not toggled on automatically in every meeting. So it's kind of one of the checklist of things you have to do when you start up a meeting is click on original sound. If you forget to do that, then there might be background noise suppression that's going to knock out any background sound effects and things like that you actually do want to put into your production. Here, it's just very simple, either noise cancellation on or off. So it's either going to filter out the background noise or it isn't, and it's just going to let through the you know, unfiltered. So that's exactly what I want. Another simple thing there that we've got in Zoom as well, hold down space key to temporarily unmute. Always a great feature if you're in other people's meetings or even in your own and you're just muted and you don't want to temporarily unmute. And then we've got the Ecamm Live virtual camera. Now, I'm actually looking at this in the browser. However, just know that there is a desktop app and it looks exactly the same, but I'm doing it in here just because it enables me to sort of zoom it up a little bit. However, one thing to note is by default, the application doesn't allow for virtual cameras. Now, that's kind of what I'm talking about, isn't it? Taking a virtual camera like Ecamm into the application. However, just like in Discord, where we've got that little terminal code that we can type in to enable the virtual camera, if I just come back down to here. So I've opened up terminal.app, and all we need to do is just come into here. And it's not actually that one. That one's the one for Discord, which I've just had to do because Discord makes you do that every time. But if I go back up here, this is the little bit of code that we need to add in. So it's this Vivomeetings frameworks helper plugin.app. So this is the little bit of code. You'll find that link down in the description. So if you are going to try out Vivomeetings, then and you want to use your Ecamm Live virtual cam or OBS virtual cam or any virtual camera, then just go into your terminal. So open terminal.app, and then you literally just copy the code out of the description of this video, paste that in, and then when you hit return, it's going to ask for your system password. Click that, and then you are done. And just make sure that either Vivomeetings app is closed when you do that, or that you close it down and reopen it afterwards. But assuming that you have done that, then your Ecamm Live virtual camera will just show up in the list here. So you can pick that. So yeah, that is the first major thing that we want to get out of the way, is that you can obviously add in your virtual camera. Another thing then to go through, it's got things like virtual backgrounds. To be honest, I'm not a fan of virtual backgrounds in any platform, so I'm not really going to go into that. It's got the same kind of things as you've got in Zoom. You can upload your own one, you can blur the background, all of that kind of stuff. However, yeah, I prefer not to use those. I think if you are going to use a virtual background, then I would still recommend just use Ecamm, use their green screen feature, and then you're going to get a much better sort of key, because all of these virtual background things are, I don't think give a professional look really, because of just the quality. And this applies to Zoom, to Teams, to everything. So yeah, I'm not a fan of meeting backgrounds. Another thing, though, that I think is great, and when I did the Ecamm tool, the Ecamm Creator Camp workshop with Dan, and we were talking about our whole session was about online presentations using Ecamm into your meeting platforms. And one of the things that we talked through there was this checklist that you go through when you start up a meeting. Keyboard Maestro's got an update. Okay, I won't do that just now. Let me move that out of the way. Remind me later. But we talked about all of these different settings that you can go through at sort of startup. Well, one of the things I like about Vivomeetings is it's got these different meeting modes, as it calls them. And it's basically just an easy way to sort of have some presets set up for these different kinds of things. So first of all, you've got conversation and collaboration mode. That would be just a regular meeting, basically, as you would be probably expecting. So as it says, all participants can activate their webcam, they can share their screen, upload a document, present a document, use the whiteboard, and basically, it's just a totally interactive, collaborative meeting. They've then got this other one, which they call Q&A or classroom mode. As it says, ideal for, let me read that for you. Ideal for online classes, prayer meetings, company meetings, or training sessions. Any small to mid-sized group where interaction is important, but only those you have chosen to present will be able to share any content. So it's basically everyone can see each other. You're all in there, but you just want to restrict the sharing ability to people who are going to be sort of the main sort of presenters. So if you were doing like a workshop or something like that, you may want to have that so that people can still see each other and interact, but only moderators. And by the way, in this sense, moderators is classed as the host, or what you might think of as a co-host. So in Zoom, you have co-hosts. This would be classed as a moderator. I quite like that term, actually, because there is a host, but the moderator is somebody who's potentially in the background, or at least just sort of helping to keep people in on track and things like that. So it's actually quite a good name for it rather than a co-host. But in any case, I always kind of think of my co-hosts as moderators in that respect. And so they will be the only ones that are able to sort of present, use the whiteboard and things like that. Next, they've got presentation and webinar mode, which is, as you might expect, more like a sort of webinar. And this, it says, as you can see, there's a waiting room automatically set up. All participants will be joined as muted and they cannot unmute themselves. So that's the thing about a webinar. Usually when you're thinking about the difference between a meeting and a webinar, webinars, the other participants can't necessarily see each other. They can't come on audio at all either. It's very much a sort of more like sort of one directional and so on. They've then got this additional one, which is called focus mode. Now, this is probably actually more to do with, it's a sort of hybrid, I guess, between a webinar and a meeting, because here they have access to activate their webcam. So it's kind of like a webinar, but where you can bring people up onto the screen as well. So that's the sort of difference. Besides the organizer and moderators, any participants can be spotlighted by a moderator. So they can still see their own video, but only other participants will see those that those that are on Spotlight. So it is a little bit like a hybrid, which I think is an interesting thing, because usually if you're making the distinction between either a webinar or a meeting, you've got two options. Either folks can see each other or they can't in the webinar, whereas this gives you this flexibility to sort of, bring somebody out of that as well. So I like this idea of focus modes, and we're looking in the settings here. So this is what you're setting as your sort of default meeting mode. As you can see here, that's your default, but you can change this on a meeting by meeting basis. And in fact, if I go to the schedule here, this is a different window I've got open now for where we schedule a meeting. You can see how you can give it a title, the start and the start time and so on, but you've got here where you're selecting the type of meeting it is. So if I click on that, you can just choose any one of those. Incidentally, you can also change this in meeting as well. So if I just pop over to that meeting for a second, here we've got going. Let me see, I think I've just clipped the top of that out. There we go. That we need to see that bit. So here you can change the conversation style. And here we're in this type. But if I wanted to switch this part way through, I could do that. It may be that you want to have let's say you're doing a workshop. In fact, a good example of this would be the workshops that I do in the Take One Tech Academy. Link down in the description to that as well. But every month I do a workshop for that. And the first hour is basically me delivering content. But then the second hour is where we're just having a Q&A and sort of discussing it all. So actually, starting this out as a webinar mode where it's just very much sort of one directional with me doing the presentation in this example. But then, part way through after I've delivered the main content, then switching it to a collaboration mode where everyone comes on camera. It would be a great way to do that. So I like that sort of flexibility that you can sort of switch from webinar to a regular meeting, sort of mid view or mid meeting is a great little feature. So I'll just come back to the settings again here, and we've got waiting room and hold music. So you can choose your music. Incidentally, this is what I'll talk about the different tiers in a moment. I think that this choosing the hold music, the music that plays when people are in the waiting room, I think that is one of the higher tier features. But anyway, I shall just come through here. Next, we have got in here, we've got, where is it? Recording and live streaming. So as in Zoom, you can stream to YouTube from the platform as well. So if you want to start your meeting up in here, but then have it be streamed out for people who are just watching, you can do that here as well. The other thing I like here is you can specify the layout. So Zoom is sometimes a little bit limited in the layouts when you are recording, or at least sometimes it feels like you don't necessarily have full visibility of what it is going to be doing, whereas here you can just simply choose what you want. So preferred layout for audio and video recordings and live streams, either the gallery view, the speaker view with the tiles down the side, or speaker only. So obviously, if you were streaming to YouTube and you're doing a thing where you've got a class, let's say, or a workshop, and you want the participants to see it, but you also want to stream to YouTube, then you may want to just do the speaker only to be going to YouTube. And it could be that maybe even you start this as a webinar, you're going into your Zoom, your meeting rather, and then you're streaming out to YouTube in this speaker view, but then you end the stream in YouTube and then switch the meeting style to this more collaborative style. So there's plenty of options there. You can also change this one, preferred recording and streaming layout when someone is presenting a file or their screen in the meeting. So you might want speaker only, but if that person is sharing their screen, then obviously you want to capture that as well. So you might have a sort of combination of two in these. So yeah, these are just different options here. And it's not necessarily that, Zoom and things can't do these. What I just found refreshing about this was one thing that I'm constantly on calls with people about, aside from audio. That's the biggest thing that people book consultation calls. Incidentally, if you would like to have a chat about anything, you can go ahead and book a call with me at takeonetech.io/consultation to talk about meeting tech, audio and things like that. But yeah, the people who book calls with me are talking about audio, but another one that comes up a lot is Zoom settings and how do I enable this or disable this. And I just found that the settings here, there's never more than a few things on each screen, so it's very easy to find, and it's just not so bloated with other things either. So So that is the recording and live streaming, and as you can see, we're actually at the bottom of the list. I haven't obviously gone through all of these, but I just found that it's quite a sort of simplistic approach to things with seemingly sort of everything that you might need for just sort of general meetings. There is obviously still a place for Zoom for certain things as well, so it's not to dismiss Zoom entirely. However, I just think that for a lot of people, this might be all that they are looking for. So with that said, let's just take a look at the scheduling just once again, because this is another thing that's pretty simple. So if I click on the schedule, we did sort of talk about this, but you can set things like whether you want to record automatically. Another feature that this has at one of the levels, I'll talk about the tiers in a moment, but it also has the option to automatically generate basically a transcript. The word was escaping me there, so it's I should have just read it, shouldn't I? So it automatically generates a transcript of the meeting, but it also highlights key terms and things like that as well. So basically, when the meeting ends, I just get emailed a transcript and then also the highlights of the meeting as well. And you can set it if you want to automatically live stream. So if you were setting this up, as I mentioned, maybe you might want to set it up as a webinar, for example. So we click on save there, and then maybe automatically live stream that to the different platforms. So you can set that in there as well. And yeah, so this transcript concept is something that came up, and in fact, that's why I think we started talking about this in the Take One Tech Academy Q&A, was because we were looking for transcript options for Zoom, and yeah, those are basically add-ons. So there is one that's sort of built into Zoom. I'm not really I haven't been a fan of what that gives out. There are other platforms like Otter.ai that you can use with Zoom, but again, that's another subscription on top. So it's just nice to see that at one of the levels it has that built in here. So that's in terms of scheduling. Let's just actually come back to the meeting. In fact, before I do, let's take this in a logical step. We've done the settings, we've looked at scheduling. There's one other feature that it's got built into its menus, and that is what they call a connection test. And I thought that this was quite good. As a live streamer, we're always looking for checklists and making sure people go through the correct processes. Well, built into the app is this call diagnostics test. And if you just click on the start, the first thing it's going to do is check your microphone and check your audio. So it's actually seeing live now the levels that are coming in, and it's saying, speaking to your microphone, is the meter below moving? It's as simple as that. So click on yes. Next is audio playback. So that just played something back. It probably didn't come into the stream because it came through the same channel as Ecamm is on. However, I heard it, so that was the audio playback. Here, it's just doing a speed test for us, which actually looks a little bit on the slow side today. I wonder what's going on with my internet. Technically, that should be a gig up and down, so that's a little bit weird on my side. I must have to get onto my provider about that. But clicking on the continue, now it's going to check the video. And it's going to just check if we can see our video feed, and so we can click on yes there. So I did think that was quite a nice little thing just to go through, that process of checking on all those things to make sure that it's the audio, video, and connection are all up to scratch. So let's have a look at some other things here. Let me just come over to, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just check in with the comments because I don't want to neglect what folks are saying. Hey, Bicky. By the way, I saw the picture you posted in Ecamm with your camera for your studio. I can't wait. I can't wait to see your setup. That is an awesome, awesome camera you've got. This is the problem when I check in with comments late, is I lose the context. Something's been glitching for you in Zoom recently. I'm not sure, that might have been resolution or maybe something else. The different meeting modes feature is an awesome feature. Yeah, really, it comes down to simplicity as well. That's what I'm liking about it. Technically in Zoom, you can go in and change all of these different things, but it just seems to me that, to switch from one to the other, there's a lot of different steps that you have to take rather than just a simple button to be able to do that. I'm seeing all these options between Zoom, Sessions, and now Vivo. Yeah, so yeah, obviously Zoom. We all know what Zoom is. Sessions is another meeting platform as well. That isn't one that I've actually tried. I know that some other folks have. That's got some interesting features as well. But yeah, there's just other meeting platforms, and it's a case of we all know Zoom, we all know it and its powers and maybe its limitations as well. But yeah, these are just some other alternatives, and so it's a case of going through and checking on the pricing and the feature set and things like that, and just deciding which one is right for you. In fact, what we'll do is after I go check in with these comments, we'll go and look at some of the features as well. Is there a big difference between this and Sessions? Oh, so yeah, again, I guess they're kind of similarly placed. I haven't checked on the pricing of Sessions of late. I know that there was an offer that's now ended with AppSumo. So I think that has now finished though. So yeah, in terms of that, I've not done a full comparison, but I certainly will. Hey Chris, I hope you're well too, and no problems. I'm sorry I'm late. I'll mark it down in my register. Do you know if it integrates with Calendly like Zoom does? Now here's the thing, they are actually working on their own Calendly sort of alternative. So this is another thing when we think about all the different things that we have around scheduling our calls in Zoom. I mentioned something like Otter AI, which is an AI transcript thing, which is a paid add-on or a paid service. Then there's Calendly, that's another subscription. So they are developing or have developed their own meeting scheduling platform. But if I just go over to their website, it does also integrate with things like Zapier, and this is their one. So they've got Vivo Calendar, and that would essentially replace Calendly. So this is an appointment scheduler that they've got that sort of integrates with Vivomeetings. There isn't a direct Calendly plugin, but there is a what do they call it? Zapier integration. So technically, you could just link it like that, and then link it with Google and all of those kind of things as well. The meeting transcript is and it's great that it's just kind of it's built into one of the tiers. Chris, original sound for musicians. That's the thing that has been glitching even when turned on. Oh, interesting. That is interesting. So I've been having some issues when it's been on. Great. So Sessions is still on AppSumo as well. I should probably go and get that and do the full comparison then as well. Okie dokie. So let's whilst we're just sort of talking about features and functionality, let's come over to here, and I'll start with let's just start with the pricing. Because this is something that sets it apart from Zoom already. So Zoom, there are, I guess, 3 tiers. There's the Pro, there's the Enterprise, and there's the Education. I'm missing one there, but I mean, like the one that I'm on, I pay for it annually on Zoom, and that works out at, I think, about $16, $17 a month, amortized over the 12 months or whatever. So these are the plans, though, on Vivomeetings. So starting from $2.50 a month. So if you're doing like occasional meetings and you're looking for something that is more full featured than the basic account with Zoom, where you've got that limitation on the time of the meeting and so on, the duration of the meeting, then $2.50 a month seems a lot more manageable. The other thing about this is all of these plans have this resolution feature that I was talking about. Incidentally, let me just sort of demonstrate that. By the way, because that was the thing that really grabbed my attention straight off. I'm just going to come over into this meeting. I'm going to go into my camera settings here, video settings. Let's go to audio and video settings. And this is the setting. So here you can just choose. Maybe you've got a poor connection and you just want to say, okay, let's just use the standard definition. Or maybe you want to go a little bit higher. Or if you are doing some sort of presentation where you've got on-screen text and things like that, then you can just switch into full HD. That is a feature across all of their plans. So whatever plan you're on with Vivo, you can actually choose your resolution. And that is the thing that for me really just grabbed my attention. Being in the Ecamm community, using virtual cameras, really being an advocate for just leveling up your on-screen presence by using live production software into your meetings to take things, all the things that I do on my live streams, switching scenes, switching cameras, all of that kind of stuff. Then, using a virtual camera with Ecamm into Vivo, you can just select the resolution. Now, obviously, there is always a limitation. If you've got really slow internet, really poor resolution, you're on dial-up. Dare I say it? I don't think anyone is anymore, are they? But yeah, the resolution may be lower depending on your network conditions. So if you have really poor network, then it may be that it drops. But generally, the fact is it's available to everyone on every plan, and yeah, you don't have all of these other hoops that you need to jump through that some people aren't even aware of in Zoom. Like, you have to actually, even if you're on a pro plan, you have to contact Zoom to enable it. Then you have to enable it in your web settings. Then you have to enable it in your desktop settings. Then you have to be in full screen. A guest has to be in full screen, and also your guest has to have the bandwidth as well. So there's all these different hoops. Whereas here, it's just very clear. Whatever plan you're on, you go into the meeting, just enable full HD. So this is something that is available to everyone. The other thing that I pay extra for in Zoom is Zoom Webinar. So Zoom Webinar is a separate product to the meetings, whereas here everybody has the webinar mode included. So that thing where you're choosing the style, if you want to run webinars, I mean, I forget exactly my plan for Zoom is whatever it is, $140, $150 a year, and then I pay extra for Zoom Webinar, and that is dependent on the number of participants, but I can't just remember how much that is as an add-on, but it's like $30 a month or something like that, or $20 a month. I forget exactly. And I also pay extra for extra Zoom cloud storage for recordings as well. Here, though, the recordings are included, and then also webinar mode is included as well. There is a limit with the participants, so 12 participants on this lower plan. But if you're using this for something like coaching calls, things like that, small groups, small workshops, then that is fine though. And then, as you can see, the pricing goes from $250, $890, $12.50 to $18, basically $17.99. So let's take a look at a comparison chart then, just to go through and be clear about what some of those differences are. So there is, let me see which ones of these are I think are useful. As you can see, most of these features are just applying to all of them. And obviously, the link to this is in the description. It's pinned at the top of the chat as well, so you can go through, and I won't just go through all of these yourself. That one, I did actually highlight that, the custom hold music in the waiting room. So yes, that's either a plus or a pro feature. That might not be a deal breaker anyway, but there you go. And the AI transcript. So the AI transcription is a pro feature on the pro plan. But like I say, that's something that I looked into with Otter AI and a few others, and it was a paid plan in any case for those kinds of things. So yeah, that's where that is. It's built into that pro level. Let's see, custom branding. I need to look into that one. The custom branding is not something that I've looked at. And then the recording is plus and pro feature and above as well. So anyway, there's a link to this, and it is an affiliate link, so full disclosure about that too, in the description and in the top of the chat. But if you want to go and try it out, there is obviously, as with all these things, a 14-day free trial, so you can go and test it out and see what's what you think of it. But let's jump over to that meeting that I had going, because I just do want to talk through the interface. Really, I'm sure you will find your way around very quickly. I've got a meeting going at the moment that's basically me, my iPad, and my iPhone. Billy No Mates here talking to himself as usual. But this is what the meeting interface looks like. So I've got this is just the app on my computer, and as I say, that code to enable the virtual camera is in the description as well. The usual things that you would expect. I've disabled streaming, so that's why this doesn't show up. But if I wanted to initiate a stream, I could do that here. The recording, I can start a recording from there. You've got a whiteboard, as you're familiar with in other platforms too. Now start sharing. One of these that I liked was just really quickly being able to get into either sharing your screen, files, and so on. But I like this option just really easy to access right there, which is share an additional camera. So if I wanted to come in here and let's see if I get the right one. No, not that one. There you go. So if you wanted to just share, a top-down camera, and you still wanted to be on the screen, as you can see, I've got my my other camera there. So I like that idea of just being able to quickly come in and sort of share a secondary camera if you wanted to. And I'm just going to stop sharing that for the time being. But that was just a nice little feature that I know technically you can do that in Zoom if you go through the sharing and so on. But it was just a very easy way to add that in, and that's something that, although I use Ecamm Virtual Camera, obviously, but often in calls there is a need to just say, "Hey, let me show you this from another angle," or the top down or whatever. So yeah, it's useful to have that right there. Mute and camera. No point to going into that too much. You can see all your different cameras, gives you a preview. That's a nice little thing that you do see the preview of all of your cameras. So if you're not sure which one it is, if you've got multiple cam links plugged in, as I do, the usual thing here, send a reaction, raise your hand, and so on. Then over this side, this is all the stuff related to participants. I don't know about you, but in Zoom, I find that now the bottom bar is getting a little bit full with things, and sometimes it might not. I know when I'm speaking to people, they're not sure where things are. Whereas over here, you've got the central things, which are the sort of core functionality. Over on the right is things related to participants. So you can create a poll just directly in here. You can set that up in advance as well in that scheduling page. Yeah, you can do that there. Then you've got chat. So this is where you can obviously set what you want in terms of here, public and private chat, public chat only. So this is something that we talked about again in the workshop that I did at Ecamm Live Creator Camp, where we were talking about the different types of meeting you have and the different permissions that you have for chat. So if you're doing something that is like a really close group of people that know each other, then allowing public and private chat, I think, is fine. You don't mind if somebody sends somebody else a private message, whilst they're in the meeting. However, if you're doing anything where the people are essentially strangers to each other, maybe it's like an event that you're running, you really only want to have public chat or chat with moderators only, or disable it. You don't want people to be able to just direct message people privately who maybe they don't know, because there may be people then who get unwanted attention. So yeah, you definitely don't want to have that enabled. As it is, those different conversation styles, this is one of the things I like about this, is once you select one of these, it's kind of handling that for you anyway. So it's making, the chat so that people can only chat with moderators, co-hosts, or whatever you want to call them. So there is that, but you can just come in and change it here as well. Again, this is, common across lots of platforms, but I just like the implementation of it. Next, you've got participants. So this is your participant list. If you want to make somebody a moderator, so again, just to clarify, that is kind of like a co-host. If I just click on that person, now they've got the little star next to their name. That means that they are a moderator, a co-host. You can just click on that and remove that permission. Sorry, iPad. Promoted and demoted. And then you've also got here, pin spotlight. So if you want to spotlight someone, make them full screen, you can do that all in here. Send them back to the waiting room if they've been a naughty boy or girl. I'll remove them from the meeting. You can also initiate a one-to-one meeting here as well. So let's say that somebody was a moderator and then somebody in the group was experiencing an issue. The moderator could then go and say, well, let me just initiate a one-on-one meeting. And it basically takes them into a little breakout room. They can sort out whatever they've got to do and then bring them back. So it just seemed like it's got all the functionality that you would need. It's got the invite there, so that's going to give you a link to share out as well with other folks. Then we've got meeting details. So that's a quick way as well to get to the meeting details if you want to share the link out to the meeting. I won't do that right now because this is a live meeting. And then you can also just see that's the number of participants, but you can open and close the participants panel from up there as well. In terms of views, though, you've got the obvious gallery view, which is what we're in right now. You can also change that to be a sort of left sidebar so you can see the participants down here, the bottom sidebar view like that as well. So you've got a few options there in terms of what you do. When you are in gallery view, you can change the page size, so the number of participants on the screen at any one time. And you can also toggle on and off the self view from here. So this is something that, if I'm on a Zoom call with somebody then or multiple people, I might want to hide my own view so that I don't see myself, so that the other people take up more on the screen. So that's nice and easy to get to from here as well. So I can just toggle off show myself. And this one, automatic P2P view, that one is basically saying that if ever you're on a call with just one person, it's going to default to you only see them, which is great, actually, because if you have it in Zoom, for example, where you hide your self view, the next time you go into a call, you will also be hidden. Whereas actually you may want it that you're only hidden when you're on a call with two people, with you and one other person. But when you're on with multiple, there may be a reason why you want to see yourself. So I like that sort of little bit of granularity there with that. And then obviously changing light and dark mode, you can override the system theme, but I shall leave that dark for now. And here you can manage and create breakout rooms as well. So you can automatically assign or set those up from there. So if you've got a bigger group and you're splitting people off, then you can do that from there. You can also get into the settings here, so you can get into all the full settings, and you can also change that recording layout as well. So that recording layout we talked about earlier, if you want to do part of the meeting where it's you as the main speaker, but then you're going to go over to the Q&A maybe partway through, you want to switch over that recording, so you can do that just there as well. So as I say, in general, I just liked the sort of functionality that you've got here, and some of the implementation of this looks it's just a nice implementation, nice clean interface. So Chris, you should do a comparison between AppSumo and Setapp. So I use both of those actually, and they are different. So with Setapp, you are paying a monthly subscription and you get access to over 200 great utility-style apps. I should say that there's a link to Setapp, an affiliate link in the description as well. But basically, you're paying a single fee and you're getting access to all of the apps. And I find that it is a really, really well-curated list of apps. And so if anything is in there, I generally know that it's a great, it's going to be a great quality app. Anything that's, if it's not going to be a useful or great app, it's not going to be in there. That's not to say that I use all of them. I don't use every Setapp app at all. However, if I'm looking for something, I'll generally go and just check if there is one in there. And it's, I know that a lot of the apps that I used before Setapp are in there. And so when I signed up to Setapp, it was like, oh great, iStat menus is in there. All of these other ones that have been a staple on my computer for years are included. So that's what Setapp is. It is a single subscription to over 200 utility style apps. You have a sort of little mini app store built into your computer then, which is basically what the app store should be. Because the problem with the app store, he says, just trying to grab Setapp and open it up. The thing with the App Store is that the Mac App Store is there's just so much in there, and you never really know if something is great or not. However, with Setapp, you have this Setapp App Store app that basically sits on your computer, and it's so easy to just go and grab things and install them. The other thing that's great about this is, and here are just some of the apps that are on there. I won't mention Downy. I did do a whole video about Downy, about downloading videos from the internet, and that got me a little slap on the wrist by YouTube because they don't like you telling people how to do that. But anyway, it's got all of these different utility apps, and if I wanted to add one of those, I could just literally click here and then click on install, and it would install it onto, in fact, this one is actually just an iPad app. So there is iPad and iOS apps in there as well. Let's choose one that I haven't got. It's Better Touch Tool. So I could install that from here, and it would just install directly on my computer. The other great thing about Setapp is, because you've got access to all these apps, there may be something that you only need to use once, but it's going to be, save you a lot of time. Well, you might come down here and choose the particular app that you want. Let's look, convert and calculate in notes. I don't know what that one is exactly, some sort of calculator. Let's say I just needed to do something quickly. I could go and download the app, do whatever it does, and then offload it again. And it hasn't cost me any more because it's all part of the Setapp subscription. So that's what Setapp is. AppSumo is something which is often for web-based applications rather than desktop apps, although not always. It is also desktop apps as well, but often it is software as a service type things. And usually it's something that is on a subscription model themselves. And what they're doing in AppSumo is they're giving you the option to, sometimes you get like a lifetime deal instead of signing up for the monthly plan. And sort of apps that usually feature on AppSumo are by their nature usually kind of fairly early on. They're early on in their development. They are startups, and they're looking to get a big user base up front. And so they're giving really good incentives to people to sign up to these deals because they just want to expand their user base. And so you don't really tend to find really, really well-established companies and applications in AppSumo. It's very much like a sort of startup type place, and so that's the reason for them being on there. Obviously, one example of this I'll give is an application I use called Radar, or a service I use called Radar for social media planning. Now, the regular price for it is $50 a month. However, I got into that when it was on AppSumo, and I got a lifetime deal for $50. So basically, for the cost of 1 month, they gave me a whole lifetime access to it because they were just trying to rapidly grow their user base. So that's kind of the difference. Generally, AppSumo is software as a service that's usually a subscription thing, but you often get the option to just get a lifetime deal on it. And often they are sort of web-based apps as opposed to Mac-based utility apps. So that's kind of the core difference there. But it's a great way to get an amazing deal on software when you're getting a lifetime deal for something that otherwise would be a subscription. That's me, Billy No Mates, here in the northeast of Thailand, talking to myself day in, day out into this camera. The AppSumo deal. So this Vivo is not in AppSumo. It was the other platform that is in AppSumo, and I'm not sure what the deal is with that. But yeah, that is in AppSumo though. Yeah, I think as long as I don't make a video about it, Rich, I might be all right. But yes, I can't recommend Downy at all. Please don't use it. I never use it. It's terrible. Allegedly. Better Touch Tool is, so the thing is, I used to use Better Touch Tool before it was in, or before I even had setup, when I was using a laptop with a touch, I was using my touch thing on, and I was using a trackpad at that time. So yeah, Better Touch Tool is for adding gesture support and things like that to your trackpad. However, I only use a mouse these days, and I was using the Mac Mini, which didn't have a trackpad. But now that I've upgraded to my MacBook Pro, the new M3 MacBook Pro, which has a trackpad, I should definitely be putting a Better Touch Tool on it. But because I use a mouse, the thing is, I never build up the muscle memory for those gestures as to when I use the trackpad. But I've yeah, it is a great tool nonetheless. Is there an AppSumo suit I can wear to parties? There should be. If there isn't, there should be. They're missing a marketing opportunity there for sure. So this has been a sort of overview of Vivomeetings. One thing I do want to just highlight, first of all, is that they do have an upgrade plan going on for this, or rather a development roadmap. And what I love about that, and you can find this on their website, if you go over to their homepage, it is right down here on their, halfway down their homepage. They've got their affiliate program, video tutorials, and their roadmap as well. So if you click on the roadmap, that is going to take you to here. This is all the things that they've added in 2023. So, often you get, release notes and things like that. So you can see these kind of things from companies. But what I like is that they also have, what they're currently working on and what's coming next. Often companies are a little bit reluctant to say what's in the pipeline, what's coming. However, they do have a list of, this is what they're working on right now. So Rich Tesk, billing for storage. So if you want to increase, add even more storage in, snooze notifications, mobile chat and UX improvements, messaging, and what's coming up next. So they've got some other things here. And obviously, I'm sure companies are always open to feature requests as well, and what's coming later as well. So additional virtual backgrounds. So I mentioned that I'm not a fan of virtual backgrounds, and that's because generally, I don't know whether they all use the same, underlying frameworks or whatever. But yeah, I find that Zoom's virtual backgrounds are not great. Teams is the worst, which surprises me. They're the worst. But here, as you can see, they're working on Virtual Backgrounds 2.0 to give better image processing, to give better quality for those backgrounds. But that's just to show that they have this roadmap coming. Now, I mentioned that I'm doing some other things with Vivomeetings, and one of them is we're actually putting on a free workshop. So this is called the Meeting Tech Mastery Workshop. And by the way, this is open to everyone. You don't need to be a Vivomeetings user to come along to this workshop. This is actually happening next week, Monday to Friday. It's in the form of basically an hour and a half session every day. And you will, if you go to the link, which is in the description, and also I've just dropped it into the chat as well, you can register for this. As I say, it's a completely free event. Day one is going to be focused on video and lighting. Day two is going to be all about audio. So this is, platform agnostic, whether you're using Zoom, Teams, Vivomeetings, whatever, or sessions or whatever, then all of this will still be relevant. So that's day 1 and 2. It's all about leveling up your audio and video on screen in your meetings. Day 3 is going to be about presentations and immersive presentations. I'm a big fan of doing something other than just, sharing a slide deck and you being a little window and the slides being over here and just talking to slides. And we'll be talking about, how to present effectively whatever platform you're on. Day 4 is going to be more of a deep dive into the Vivomeetings platform. Obviously, this is for their existing user base as well as new potential customers. So I'll be going into more of a tutorial about the platform itself, going into some other things that we haven't talked about here as well. So whether you're an existing user or not, day 4 will have you covered on that. And then day 5 is going to be talking about the power of live production software into your meetings. I'm obviously a massive advocate of using Ecamm Live, but whether you're using OBS, vMix, or anything else, it's going to be talking about these platforms and this software and how it can really enhance your meeting. For me, the real thing that these platforms like Ecamm and OBS add into your meetings is that it gives this fluidity which is otherwise missing. We've all been in meetings where somebody says, okay, I just want to share some figures with you. Let me go and click on screen share. Let me find the application. Oh no, it's not that one. It's this one. Where is it? And all of these things, all of these minute little interruptions actually break the flow of the meeting. When you can just sort of seamlessly go from speaking into the camera and let me just show you something, let me just pull this up on screen and I'll just flick over to this scene or I'll flick back again, that adds this real fluidity, which actually means that the tech is getting out of the way of you communicating. That's what we're trying to do. We've got some sort of value that we want to give to our meeting participants, whether you are an educator, whether you are a salesperson, whether you are whatever the case is, you've just got something that you're trying to impart, some information, some knowledge, some value that you're trying to give. And so we want all the tech to get out of the way. And that's what I'm a huge advocate of. And so that is what I'll be talking about on day 5, is how live production software can really enhance your meetings. Now, I say it's a 5-day workshop. There's actually a bonus session on the following Monday as well, and that is going to be basically a Q&A in a Vivo meeting where you can come along, experience the platform if you're not familiar with it, but also then get any questions answered as well. So that will be definitely a sort of two-way. You can come on camera if you want. It'll be a regular meeting, and then we can have a chat if there's anything you want to know about video, audio, lighting, live production software, or whatever it is, or the platform itself. So that is the process. There will also be downloads associated with every day as well. So if you go ahead and register, then you'll get all the details and you'll be away there on all through next week. Incidentally, this is obviously a live stream on YouTube. It's going to be probably up for some time after next week. So if you are watching this after this date, you can still go to the website, you can still register, you can still get all the downloads, and you'll also get access to all of the replays, and you'll get access to the replay of that live Q&A session as well. So even if you're watching after the fact, you can still go and register and get all this value for free as well. So that is a little bit about the workshop. And what I'll do is I'll just check in with the chat just again. Hello, Alonso. Great to see you here. New name in the chat. Great to see you. Is it possible to integrate Vivomeetings with OBS vMix? ISO feeds out, NDI maybe. The integrating with OBS and vMix, yes. So if they've got the virtual cameras out, which they do, I don't know. I'm pretty sure vMix does, but I definitely know OBS does. So yeah, it would just be a case of going and putting in that virtual camera code if you're on the Mac. On the PC, I'm not sure about the virtual cameras thing, but certainly it would work in the browser. In the browser, you can use any camera as well. So, but that's what I'm doing with Vivo with Ecamm on the Mac. So I'm using the virtual cameras. In terms of ISO feeds out, it doesn't have ISO feeds out. It's one of the things that I've been obviously talking with the founders and the folks there at Vivo, and it's one of the things that I've specifically requested, because I would love to have the isolated video out of a Vivo meeting to be able to then use that in my Ecamm productions. And that's something that, yeah, you can't do that with Zoom either at the moment, unless you use another third parties or another service, which is Zoom ISO. Used to be third party, Zoom bought them, but that is another monthly subscription as well. So yeah, to answer your question, no, there is no isolated video feed out of Vivo at the moment, but I've definitely requested that myself. We're on the same page. M3 Max all the way, and it's great. I mean, anybody who's watched my live streams over the past few months will know that quite often I was say the phrase, "Oh dear, my computer is glitching," came up a lot. Whereas actually I'm on an M3 Max. I've got my Discord running. I'm in a voice channel there. I'm streaming right now to YouTube, obviously. I'm also recording this. I'm also in a Vivo meeting, and I've also got other stuff on the network in the meeting as well. And touch wood, not a single glitch so far. So yeah, really impressed with the M3 Max laptop. Hey Chris, it's getting late. Oh yeah, thank you for staying up. I appreciate you. And oh great, I look forward to speaking to you next week. Yeah. So that is, anybody would like to book a call, yeah, I do offer consultation services, but obviously if you want to just figure out if I might be right to help, then you can go ahead and book a discovery call. So that's a 20-minute call. We can just have a chat. You know, if there's something that I can fix there and then I'm happy to do that too. But yeah, if you want to just have a chat to figure out if I might be able to help you, then you can go ahead and book that. Dan, my biggest concern is in trying these is I'm already spending money on Zoom, and there isn't any platform proven to take market share. Do you think this has longevity? I mean, this is Zoom. There's no denying. You know, Zoom is ubiquitous. It is the market leader. It just depends on what it is that you are, what you're looking to get out of it. And if you're looking for something that is, you know, as I say, maybe a lower price point, maybe doesn't have some of the resolution issues that we have with Zoom. If you are sending your links out to people and people are joining, what it does mean is either those people that you're sending it to would be just joining in the browser. So when they click the link on the email, it opens up in a browser, which, you know, might not be an issue for folks at all. Or obviously, you know, they can download the app. So if you're in a team, for example, and you're all on Vivo meetings, then you know, that would be you know, another use case. If you're, you know, in your entire team, you're on it. But yeah, I mean, there is no getting away from the market share that Zoom has. But it was just when I looked at all of the sort of features of this, that there are these certain things that I think tick boxes for that would tick boxes for a lot of people. Certainly not for everybody necessarily, but that is just a case of going through, looking at the feature set, looking at what you've got already, trying it out for a free trial, you know, try some of the meetings, see the experience you get with it, you know, send out some meeting links to people and see the experience that they have and how they feel about that. And then yeah, we will and make that decision. It's a bit of a tricky one for me to say, because I do appreciate it's not for everybody, and it's a case of evaluating all the pros and cons of each one. If I switch platforms, I want to make sure it will be around in a year, is what I'm getting at. Yeah, so it's interesting. I'm not sure I can't remember the exact founding date. It's been around for several years already, so it's not like a new kid on the block. As I say, it did actually start out on AppSumo a few years ago. So it had its you know, startup phase earlier, and now they're just building out functionality and features and so on. So yes. One of the things I will say to that, you know, is, yeah, when we were looking at these kind of things, with a meeting platform, it's not necessarily something that you're embedded into in quite the same way as some other services. If you were going to be transferring over, a complete database or something to another service, and then you're really sort of embedded in it. Meeting platforms don't really have that sort of limitation. I'm not just to give you another perspective on this. If it is something that can add a cost saving and feature benefits, then as I say, it is under ongoing active development with new features coming in all the time. There's some just added last week as well, so it's certainly under active development. But yeah, it's not quite the same level of buy-in as, let's say, for me, Kajabi, like my whole business is based on Kajabi. I've got all my courses there and things like that. So if something were to happen to that, the cost of, mentally and time-wise to shift over to something else would be massive. Whereas actually a meeting platform's more kind of what you're doing at the time, if that makes sense. I don't know if that's a valid point or if that helps you in your evaluation process at all. Okay, so with that said, if anybody's got any further questions about Vivomeetings, obviously bring them along to that free workshop. Whether you are a Vivomeetings user or not, or interested, then you can certainly check out that workshop anyway. There'll be plenty for everyone. But if you have got any other specific questions, drop them in the comments to this video. But a much better place, because I'll be honest, with email, with comments, with social media, it's a fire hose of information coming in, or fire hose of messages. So a much better place to actually put these is, in fact, in the Discord. And that is another thing that is free to join. So go to takeonetech.io/family, join the Discord. If you're not familiar with Discord, don't worry, it's easy to pick up. And there's some simple steps that I talk through in terms of how to get yourself set up. But that is a much better place to go and get your questions answered, because there, first of all, there is the structure of being able to see categorized different conversations, but also you then have the ability to get answers from other people, not just me. So whenever someone drops a comment in the comments of a video, chances are it's me that's seeing it, nobody else. Whereas obviously in a community, you're getting the things from everybody else, the comments and feedback from everyone else, who are often vastly more wise than I am. Hey, Michael, great to see you, and another UK folks, so thanks for staying up. Dan, so he's saying he used Cloud Presenter and Vivomeetings with clients, no real issues, as it's just a URL, I send them out. So, oh, that's great. Oh, so you're using Vivo as well, are you? Fantastic. Vivo La Alec, thank you very much. Okie dokie, with that said then, and on that note, I will wrap it up here, but I look forward to seeing you again next time. And a big thank you to, look at this, I still haven't adjusted this scene with my massive head in it. A big thank you to my channel members. I just remembered 2 more to add into there who joined just last week or so I'll add those in next time. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.